The Gold Cup 2021 kicks off this week. We are all psyched for it, guys, and I'm going to be breaking down not only the US chances, but also looking at the rosters, abilities, and styles of plays of the opponents that we will be playing in our group, as well as some of the other opponents who are favorites to win this tournament. What up, guys? I'm Pete Douthit. Welcome to the 11 Yanks Breakdown Show. If you're new here, welcome. We have 2 videos a week. Hit that subscribe button. If you've been here a while, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps other people to find us. Let's dig into it. Let's start off by looking at what we as American fans should be expecting from this tournament. Thankfully, head coach Greg Berhalter was very clear about what our exact expectations should be. In the press conference when the roster was released, Berhalter said the following: "We don't want to look at this as an experimental team. We want to look at this as a team that can compete to win the Gold Cup. Let's be clear with that, and that's going to be our expectation. We believe there's enough backbone in this group, enough leadership in this group to make a run at winning the Gold Cup." It's interesting to me that in that statement, Berhalter talked about leadership and backbone and not ability or talent. Because guys, leadership and backbone will only get you so far if you don't have real talent to go along with it, and large parts of this roster are lacking in that talent. Midfield in particular, we have a lot of connectors, but not many creators and no real destroyers. This might be fine against teams like Martinique, but when it comes to tougher teams like Canada, Honduras, Jamaica, Qatar, or Mexico, I question our ability to create chances from open play. Up top, we have some interesting options in Matthew Hoppe, Daryl Dike, and Nicolas Gioacchini, but no real wide players outside of Areola and Jonathan Lewis. Berhalter seems keen to play Gioacchini and Hoppe as inverted wide forwards, so expect a very narrow front three, with the width ideally coming from the fullbacks. If we're struggling to create through the midfield, we may have to look to Daryl Dike as an outlet, and because Hoppe and Areola or Gioacchini are playing so narrow, he can either hold up the ball and find them and maybe Leggett as supporting cast, or he can win flick-ons as they make runs behind the back line. I predict that a good portion of the success we'll have during the Gold Cup will come from this type of play. At the back, I'm pretty comfortable with the options we have, and Matt Turner should make for a very solid goalkeeper. I expect us to be pretty solid defensively, but sometimes struggle to break down those better teams. How far can we go? I expect us to at least make a semifinal, where we may meet Mexico. Despite the question marks around this roster, this team should find a way to get there, and part of that will be getting the personnel, tactics, and mentality right on each game day. Now for a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I'm happy to say that 11 Yanks has a new sponsor. OneFootball is an app that allows you to get all of your news, transfers, stats, and in-match updates from over 160 leagues in over 60 countries. I've been using this app for the last few weeks, and here's what I love about it. I can select the teams that I love, in this case the USMNT, and with one click, I'll have access to all the news about the teams, statistics from past games, lineups, information about future games, as well as who is part of the roster. I can also do the same thing for specific players, select the ones that I want to follow, and I'll be able to track that player's data, performance, and stats throughout the season for both club and country. So check out the app, guys, OneFootball. Click the link in the description below to download the app directly and start getting all the information you need about the players and teams that you love. Now let's look at some of our opponents, and in our group, we have Canada, Martinique, and Haiti. Let's start with the toughest opponent in the group, Canada, or as Michael Scott calls them, Canada. So 13 of the 23-man roster for Canada plays in MLS. 2 of them play in the Portuguese First Division, and the remainder are an assortment of players from the Championship, Korea, Turkey. This is largely an A team for Canada. They are missing a few guys. Milan Borjan, their goalkeeper, is missing. Obviously, Jonathan David, the Lille forward, is missing. And they are missing Scott Arfield from Glasgow Rangers. Other than that, it's a pretty solid roster. Their key players are of course going to be Kyle Larin, who in the absence of Jonathan David should start up top, Alphonso Davies, who is far and away their best player. Then there's Steven Vittoria, who is a center back for them, very experienced dual national, going to be commanding that back line and organizing the midfield. Speaking of midfield, Mark-Anthony Kaye, the LAFC midfielder, will be crucial for John Herdman's side, as they look to advance as far as they can through this edition of the Gold Cup. This tournament will be a very good dress rehearsal for Canada, who is competing in the final round of World Cup qualifying for the first time in forever, and it will show them the level of competition that they have to play against. Also, keep an eye on Tejon Buchanan, the winger from New England Revolution, and Ayo Akinola, the newly filed one-time switched from the US to Canada. He's a good young striker, has been playing well for Toronto this year, and I wish him the best of luck as he starts his Canadian career. Martinique is our other opponent in this group, and 18 out of the 23 players play in the Martinique League. Guys, there is absolutely no reason why we shouldn't destroy this Martinique team, even with the roster that we have. That being said, they do have some interesting key players. Patrick Berner, the fullback who plays in France, 25 years old, very quick, very athletic, plays almost like a wingback a lot of the time and is someone to keep an eye on. Jean-Sylvain Babin, I believe is how you pronounce his name, plays in Israel for Maccabi Tel Aviv, 34 years old, gonna command that back line, very experienced, very good in the air, very strong, deceptively quick. Emmanuel Riviere is their forward, plays for Crotone in the Italian second division, 31 years old, recently started playing for Martinique. He's another dual national. He'll be looking to lead that back line and score goals for the Martinique team. Kevin Fortune is another forward, plays for Auxerre in France, 31 years old, has 5 caps for Martinique. Another guy that's very good at making well-timed runs behind the back line. So if we're pushing high up the field to attack, we are going to have to keep an eye on Kevin Fortune. Haiti is the team we will be facing on opening day, and although they aren't exactly world beaters, we shouldn't take them lightly. Remember, they dumped Canada out of the last Gold Cup and pushed Mexico in the semifinal, who only beat them 1-0. This is a good Haiti team, and part of that reason is because they do have some guys playing at pretty high levels. Dukins Nazon, I'm probably butchering that name, but he's a forward who plays for Saint-Truden in Belgium, the same club that Christopher Durkin plays for, by the way. 27 years old, 48 caps, very reliable forward. Kevin Lafrance is their center back, plays for AEK Larnaca in Cyprus. Franzi Pierrot plays for Guingamp, also in France, 26 years old, a real poacher for the Haitians. And of course, Derek Etienne, the winger/forward for the Columbus Crew, 24 years old, very quick, very technical, very good at beating you in 1v1 situations, not always as clinical as he should be, but could certainly pose a threat to our back line if our defenders are not switched on. Let's look now at some of the other teams that are favored to win it, and nobody is more tournament-heavy favorites as Mexico. 14 of this 23-man roster plays in Liga MX, 3 of them play in MLS, and the rest of them play in Holland, Portugal, and Italy. Now, this isn't quite an A team because they are missing a few guys. Raul Jimenez is not there, Charlie Rodriguez is not there, the goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa is not there, but generally speaking, this is pretty close to an A team. Some of the younger guys in their early 20s who would normally be here are going to the Olympics, so I would call it more of an A- or B+ roster. It's certainly very, very strong, and after failing to win the Nations League, Tata Martino and this Mexican team are under pressure to win the Gold Cup. Their key players are pretty well known to all of us. Chucky Lozano, the Napoli winger, Hector Herrera will captain and lead them from central midfield. Edson Alvarez will protect that back line, probably drop to play center defense in certain games or in certain phases of play during games, but also very good when he wins the ball at setting up attacks quickly. Jesus Tecatito Corona, who scored against the US in that Nations League final, is fully recovered from his injury, and expect him to line up on the other wing opposite Chucky Lozano. Guys, there is absolutely no reason why Mexico shouldn't cruise through this Gold Cup and win it. They have far and away the strongest roster, and the pressure is very much on them. Jamaica, the Reggae Boyz, are going to be competing here. 6 of this 23-man roster for Jamaica plays in MLS, and 2 more of them play in USL. 7 of the 23 play in the English Championship, and that is mostly dual nationals born and raised in England with Jamaican heritage who have agreed to now come play for Jamaica. The rest of them play in Belgium, Germany, Qatar, Costa Rica, Sweden, and at home in Jamaica. This is a very strong Jamaican roster, guys, and not one to be taken lightly. Just because they weren't able to get Mikel Antonio for this tournament doesn't mean the Reggae Boyz don't have a real shot here. Leon Bailey is far and away their best player. The Bayer Leverkusen winger had something like 15 goals and 13 assists in the Bundesliga this last year. One of the best wingers in CONCACAF in my opinion. Liam Moore almost helped Reading get promoted from the Championship into the Premier League, and somebody who is going to command that back line. Andre Blake, the Philadelphia Union goalkeeper, is probably one of the top goalkeepers in MLS, a guy who can definitely win you games with his shot stopping alone. And Bobby de Cordova Reid, who's the Fulham forward who didn't have a ton of playing time for Fulham in the Premier League last season, but still managed to get 5 or 6 goals, is going to be a threat, is going to be an option up top with Leon Bailey, and Jamaica will be a very, very tough team to get past. Honduras. Now, Honduras had a very good Nations League performance, and they'll be looking to follow that up with a good, strong showing in the Gold Cup. Now, 15 of the 23-man roster does play in the Honduran League. 4 of them play in MLS, and the remaining 4 play in Portugal, Argentina, Costa Rica, and Sweden. They were not able to get Choco Lozano for this tournament, the Cadiz forward who played for them in Nations League, but they do still have a very strong roster, and a lot of that is in part due to Albert Elise, the Boa Vista forward who looked so good in Nations League and helped them to win 3rd place. 25 years old, 46 caps, he's going to be a huge threat. Maynor Figueroa, the Houston Dynamo center back, will command that back line. Brian Acosta will be buzzing all over the midfield just like he does for FC Dallas and like he's been doing for Honduras for the last 47 caps. Kevin Alvarez is a speedy, bombing up the wing right back, overlapping, plays in Sweden, very technical, very athletic, very strong on both sides of the ball, and is going to be a key player for them in this Gold Cup, in my opinion. Now, Costa Rica did not have the greatest Nations League and are somewhat on the decline. That being said, Costa Rica has been a powerhouse in CONCACAF for the last 10 or 15 years, and you can never really count them out. 12 of this 23-man roster does play in the Costa Rican League, 5 of them play in MLS, and the remaining 6 play in Spain, Denmark, Mexico, and Ecuador. Now, their key players are also very experienced players that have been with Costa Rica for a long time. Joel Campbell, the former Arsenal forward who now plays for Monterrey, will lead that front line. Johan Venegas, who is also a winger, plays for Alajuelense, 32 years old, 63 caps. Both of these guys are going to be huge threats going forward. Celso Borges, the Deportivo La Coruña midfielder, is 33, but still good enough to marshal a Costa Rica midfield that is known for being compact, aggressive, and very good at denying space. Oscar Duarte, the center back who plays for Levante, is very, very good at reading the game and is going to be very difficult for opponents to get past. Overall, I don't think this Costa Rica team has a real shot at winning the tournament, but they could surprise some people if this aging golden generation can put one last run together to compete for a trophy. Qatar are the dark horses, and a lot of people ask, what are Qatar doing in the Gold Cup? So guys, Qatar automatically qualifies for the World Cup because they are the hosts. They don't play in World Cup qualifying, so in order to develop and to get meaningful minutes, they've been playing in tournaments around the world. They were supposed to play in Copa America this summer, but COVID issues stopped that from happening. They're now going to be playing in the Gold Cup, and guys, this Qatar team is very good. For perspective, they won the Asian Cup, beating Japan 3-1 in the final. Guys, beating Japan 3-1 isn't easy, and this Qatar team is more than good enough. Do not underestimate them. The entire 23-man roster plays at home in the Qatari League. 12 of the 23 play for the same club, Al Sadd, and 7 more play for another club, Al Duhail. So they're very used to playing together, and they've kind of been a group where a lot of these guys came through the Aspire Academy that Qatar set up 10 or 15 years ago in order to develop players for this World Cup in mind. They've played together for a very long time. This is a national team that is very familiar with each other and is going to be a huge threat in this Gold Cup. Akram Afif is their forward winger. Guys, he also won Asian Player of the Year back in 2019. 24 years old, 64 caps, can play as a winger, can play as a center forward. He's going to be the main threat for them in attack. Saad Al-Shib is their goalkeeper, very competent, very good with his feet. You can tell that he's been bred in that school of playing out of the back since he was very, very young. Also very experienced. Boualem Kouki. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, but he is a very solid center back. Not the biggest guy in the world, but very quick, but very good at reading the game and very quick to react to developing danger and snuff it out. Abdulaziz Hatem is the midfielder who plays for Al Rayyan. He's another very experienced guy, very box to box, goes up and down the field, connects defense and attack very well. Watch for Qatar to do some very interesting things in this tournament, and in my opinion, they have at least a decent shot at winning the whole thing, or at least making the final. All right, guys, that's my preview for the Gold Cup. Thanks for watching. As always, you guys have a great week, and I will see you on Sunday for the post-game live stream of the opening game of the Gold Cup. Have a great week.